my name is Michael and I have today's Advent devotion from our little book, Finding Hope Under Bethlehem Skies. Today's the 11th of December and so we're on page 32 and the heading is Contagious Kindness. This is a heartwarming story of how, under the hand of God, a bright future can arise from the darkest of circumstances. The Bible reading is Ruth chapter 2, verses 14 to 16, so I'll read those verses now. At mealtime, Boaz said to her, "Come over here, have some bread and dip it into the wine vinegar." When she sat down with the harvesters, he offered her some roasted grain. She ate all she wanted and had some left over. As she got up to glean, Boaz gave orders to his men. "Let her gather among the sheaves and don't reprimand her. Even pull out some stalks for her from the bundles and leave them for her to pick up, and don't rebuke her." And now the devotion. The Christmas meal table has always been a powerful symbol of love and kindness. Think of the famous scene in Dickens's Christmas Carol, where Bob Cratchit invites Scrooge into his family home. Think of the scramble to fit extra chairs around a jam-packed table as family and friends gather together. Think of church members and charities opening their doors on Christmas Day to cook for strangers such as the homeless, lonely neighbours or international students away from home. Maybe you have lasting memories of being warmly welcomed into someone's home at Christmas. In today's passage, a few hours have passed since Boaz was first introduced to Ruth. Presumably, since then, Ruth has continued to work hard gleaning in Boaz's field alongside his workers, all the while safe in the knowledge that he has promised her protection. But now it's time for all the workers to pause and have refreshment. And whilst the work was halted, we're about to see that the kindness of God certainly hasn't. Ruth has no expectation of eating with the others at this point. After all, she isn't an employee. And yet Boaz welcomes Ruth. "Come over here." Rather than being left on the outside, she is being welcomed to the table. There is bread and wine vinegar available, and then she is offered roasted grain too. Who knows when Ruth last had a meal of this quality or quantity? The narrator tells us that Ruth ate all she wanted and had some left over, verse 14. It's a spectacular display of abundance, far more than Ruth needed or could have imagined. We've already seen how Boaz's provision and protection gives us a glimpse of Jesus Christ. As we read of the ample leftovers here though, our minds might recall the abundant surplus when Jesus miraculously fed thousands, and you can find that account in Matthew chapter 14 and chapter 15. Then, just as Ruth prepares to get back to work, Boaz says three things that should bowl us over in amazement. Firstly, he orders his men to allow Ruth to gather from the prime spot in his field, from among the sheaves. Secondly, he warns anyone against mistreating her. And thirdly, he even tells his men to pull out some stalks for her from the bundles and leave them for her to pick up. It's an almost comical scene. Boaz's men would have been literally dropping their harvest on the ground, with Ruth following behind, picking it up. Kindness is a reoccurring theme in this little book, demonstrated especially through Boaz and Ruth. And as we see such kindness in action, it's meant to wake up our hearts to the kindness of the Lord. And now the reflection. As we appreciate someone's kindness, it begins to soften and captivate us. In future reflections, we'll consider how we can be intentional with our kindness. But first, we need to warm our own hearts at the fire of Jesus' kindness to us. Imagine yourself in today's scene, welcome to the table to eat and drink until your heart is full. Jesus welcomes us to himself, giving us his own body and blood to feed our hearts. This is lavish kindness.